Where? Well, it's not down here. Hey guys. So I told you guys I'd come back on and at 7, it's 6:45. So I thought I'd come on. Hey Colleen, what's up? What's up, y'all? What's up? So, one way you guys can all help me out a lot. I need to get everybody on board who watches my TikToks. I need you guys to all help me share my videos, okay? I have noticed that since, oh gosh, TikTok is getting, it's a lot more crowded. And so in order for us to get our content seen, we have to help each other by sharing and commenting and liking each other's videos. Like I haven't had a video do good in a while. So I'm trying to get the word out, y'all. Trying to get the word out. So anyways, shout out to my biggest fans. I know they're watching. Shout out to my biggest fans. I'm sure they're screen recording the video right now. Hey! My name's Nicole. I'm a person in recovery. My sobriety date is July 13th, 2015. And I love telling story times, obviously. I like making TikTok videos and doing YouTube. I ain't candy. So, I'm trying to think of what we can talk about tonight. What do you guys want to talk about tonight? A story time? Okay. What drug? Give me a drug, and I'll tell you a story time. Somebody asked me the other day if I had ever robo-tripped. You're bored as fuck. Okay, I got you. Alright. Let me think. I have so many, but I want to think of a good one. Okay. I got y'all. I'm going to tell you about the time I called the police on myself. Are y'all ready? Let's go. So this was in 2013. Me and my husband had been together for about a year. And we were on a good one. We were getting high. We were using meth. We were using oxys. We were smoking crack. We were doing all kinds of stupid ass bullshit. Well, I had ran into my old friend Chaz, the guy I talked about in my last story. So, oh yeah, hey Jessica. So, me and my husband were here in Little Rock, and we were hanging out with this guy named Chaz. And so we were all over at his house. We had been over there, and this, when I tell you guys, this house, it was like you walk in, and there was this shit everywhere. I'm talking pilfer piles everywhere. Books stacked to the sky, old tools over here, photo albums. I mean, just stuff everywhere. You could barely walk inside this house. That's how much shit was everywhere. Then you would go into the kitchen to shoot up, and there was just stuff everywhere in the kitchen. And so it wasn't the most sanitary place, I'll tell you that right now. And so we were all hanging out, and we had all done some shots, you know, some shots of meth. And my husband and this guy were smoking a bowl, smoking a meth pipe. And so me and Chaz were in the back bedroom, like pilfering. Like I'm telling you guys, when I say there was just stuff everywhere. So we were like going through piles. We were all twacked out. Me and him had known each other for some years before I ever even met my husband. So we were on some different shit. We were all like, we were back there like fucking climbing through piles and looking for this. And we just knew each other, and we were fucking back in there talking shit, telling stories about times when we were in prison and shit like that. And so we were back there, and all of a sudden we heard somebody like run. We heard somebody at the back window, and we were in the back bedroom together. We heard this outside, right? And I was like, did you hear that? And he's like, yeah, I heard that. So we went over to the back window to look out the window to see if anybody was there. And I was like, there's nobody there. And so we went back to pilfering and talking about prison and acting crazy. And then we heard it again. And that's when I got scared. And he got scared. I was like, did you hear that? And he's like, yeah, I heard it. So we went over the window again. And there was nobody out there. And the third time it did it, I called 911. I said, fuck it. I'm calling 911. Somebody's trying to break in. Now, mind you, this is a fucking dope house, okay? Like, it is not safe for me to be calling the cops. I call the police, you guys, and at 3 a.m., the police come knocking on the door. Boom, 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 boom. My husband is sitting in the living room with a glass meth pipe, and he was just smoking it. He takes the lighter off of it and shoves it in his sock, and all you hear is that meth pipe burning the skin all the way down to the bone of his ankle, okay? And he's over there like, and I'm like, yes, officer. And he's like, y'all called us? And I'm like, yeah, somebody's trying to break in. I think they're around the back. Can you please make sure there's nobody back there, right? And he was like, sure. So he goes around the house with his flashlight. We see him going through, and he comes back around to the front door, and he's like, ma'am, there's nobody out there. And I was like, okay, thank you so much. I'm so sorry for bothering you. And he left. Well, I turn around, and my husband pulls this meth pipe out of his sock. Pulls his sock down, y'all. And there is literally a hole. It was so deep that it went down in his ankle and burned so deep. And he was pissed. He was like, what the fuck, Nichole? Who the fuck calls the cops on them? Who the fuck does that shit? And I was like, man, I was scared. I thought somebody's trying to break in. And that's the story of how I called the cops when we were all at the dope house. Now, I got another one for y'all too, because I've called the cops on myself several times. Okay. Okay, let me think of the next time. Okay. No, that's not a good... Well, I called the cops on myself one time, and I went and got in the ambulance. And no, he didn't get an infection, but he still has the scar on his ankle to this day. It's shaped like that. It's perfectly round. It was really bad, you guys. And he was so upset with me. I'm trying to think of... When I get on here and I get on the spot, I start to get kind of nervous, and I'm like, ugh. So I have some other funny stories I want to tell you. So I told y'all the story about how I thought my husband was getting head while we were laying in the bed together. Like, I seriously looked over there, you guys, and I seen a woman in the bed with him. Like, this has happened to me before several times. I got a story for you guys. Okay, this is before I met my husband, okay? Before I met my husband, I used to date this guy named Joe. Joe with the one leg. He had a peg leg. He had a prosthetic leg, and at the knee it cut off. Let me tell you how I met him first, and then we'll get into the story about the methamphetamine, okay? So I met Joe because I was living at a sober living house, okay? I was living at the sober living. I had like 6 months sober. I had just paroled out from prison, and so I was doing really good. Well, one day I was out back at the sober living smoking a cigarette, and Joe came outside to smoke a cigarette. And he had on, I'll never forget it, y'all, he had on a white t-shirt, polo v-neck, with dark washed blue jeans and Timberland boots. His right arm was sleeved out, real nice tattoos, all sleeved out, bald head, and some nice sunglasses. And I looked over at him, and I was like, hey, what's up, man? And I was like, chopping it up with him. And I was like, you should call me sometime. We should hang out. I live right next door at the apartments because the sober living had apartments, and I had just kind of graduated to the next phase where I was able to have my own apartment. And he was like, hell yeah. So he took my number and we started hanging out. He started coming to my house. If he got caught, then he could go back to jail. And so he was coming over on the down low. Well, one day he came over on the down low and we were getting ready to do the dirty. We were getting ready to get freaky. And so I was laying on the bed and I was naked, and he was getting naked and he was getting on top of me. And he went to pull his pants down, and that's when he took his leg off. And I said, well, damn, you couldn't tell me that fuck, why didn't you tell me? Why? You're just going to bring it on me like that? Just bring it on me right there. You know, we're getting ready to fuck. And now you're going to pull your fucking leg off? Like, I don't even understand it. Like, that's kind of something that I would tell somebody before I hooked up with them, wouldn't y'all? But it didn't, you know me. Who am I to judge? I don't. So I was like, it's okay. Set your leg over there. And so we got it on. We were getting it on. We got it on. And he sat his leg to the side. But seriously, you guys, it was just kind of like one of those moments where I was like, dude, what the fuck? Why didn't you tell me you had no leg? Like, I never would have even guessed it, you guys, for real. So anyways, long story short with that whole situation is I really liked this guy. I was like crushing on him hard. He was my first relationship that I got into in sobriety. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I was going hard for him. Well, that day when he left my house, he got caught up by the feds for being at my apartment. And so he got sent back to jail for 90 days. And he had to do a mandatory 90. So, but you know my ass, ride or die chick, I had to fucking hold him down. And so I put money on his books and I was visiting him every single Thursday, you guys. I never missed a Thursday. We were writing each other 6- and 8-page letters. You know, all that stuff. So he got out of jail after 90 days and we continued our relationship. You know, we got even closer. We like really started just seeing each other and spending a lot of time together. I helped him find a really nice apartment in North Little Rock. He got on his feet. He got a job working for this welding company. And, you know, I was staying sober and he was working and we were just doing the damn thing. I was still staying at the sober living, but I was staying the night at his house on passes and shit. Well, I ended up relapsing on oxys. And so when I started relapsing, that's when I started to notice that maybe he hadn't been sober at all. Maybe I was just staying sober and he was the one who was using. So one night I went over to his house to hang out and I had, you know, been high on oxys, and he hated when I did oxys because I would always nod out because I would shoot up so many and then I would be like, and I would take a Xanax bar and he was like, what the fuck, you know? He did not like when I did that. And so he was doing methamphetamine, and that's when I realized, like, wow, you're fucking getting high on meth. Like, I get high on meth too. So we started getting high together on methamphetamine. That's the whole reason why he went to prison, because he had a conspiracy to manufacture and intent to deliver or something like that charge. So he had already done hella time for methamphetamine. Well, we were getting into it. We were getting in really, really deep. And he had some connections back in Jonesboro, Arkansas. So he's like, hey, let's take your car. You know, my car was a small little Ford Focus. Let's take your car. We'll go pick up some shit and we'll drive back. And then we'll sell some and we'll have some to get high on, right? Well, that's a tweaker's fucking dream. Hell yeah, I'm there. Let's do it. Let's do it. So we jumped in my ride and we drove up to Jonesboro, which is like 3.5, 4 hours away from Little Rock. So we drove up there and we got there and we're hanging out with all of his fucking dope cook friends, right? And we go into this house where they're like exchanging this shit, and we sat down and we were already high on meth when we got there. But we sit down and I'm smoking this bowl, right? Because this guy gave me this bowl. You guys, I have never smoked meth this strong in my life, except for back in the 90s when I was younger. This shit fucked me up so bad that I automatically, after hitting the bowl a couple times, I walked out of that house and it was like automatic hallucinations, automatic federal police surrounding me, automatic blue lights in the sky, automatic drones overhead. Like I was like tripping, dude. And Joe was like, come on, I'm going to take you to the tattoo shop, man, because he was a tattoo artist, and I want to introduce you to my friends, da 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 da. And I'm just like, no, dude, do not take me there. I don't want to go. So we go to this tattoo shop. He introduces me to his friends. He stays and gets a tattoo. Like, I am fucking tripping, dude. Like, I am scared. I'm scared. Like, and we have drugs. We just picked up a pack. We have like hella methamphetamine on us. You know what I'm saying? We have 4 hours to drive back to Little Rock, Arkansas. And so I'm like, dude, I just want to go. 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 So we get in the car, and I'm like driving halfway down the interstate, and I can't even drive, y'all. I'm driving like this in the rear view mirror, and I'm like this in the rear view. I can't even look at the road in front of me because I'm dropped in the rear view. I was so scared. I said, I pulled over. I said, I can't drive. You got to drive. You got to drive. I can't do this, man. And so he gets in the driver's side, and he starts driving. I kid you not. I unbuckle myself, and I am like this, watching the back the whole way on the whole road way back, watching out the back of the fucking window, making sure no cops are coming behind us. That is how afraid I was. That was how scared for my life I was. Well, we make it into town. We're like 20 minutes away from his house. So we pull over, and we are at a gas station getting gas. I was so afraid. I kept telling him, I just know the cops are just going to come. I just know that they're going to pop us. I just know that they're coming for us. I scared him so bad that he took the dope and went and hid it somewhere, and we drove all the way back to the apartment, and he dropped me off there, and he left me there, went back and got it, and then brought it back, because I was tripping, you guys. I was so afraid. I can't even explain to you the amount of terror that was in me at that moment, because I kept thinking, they're coming for us. You know, he left me at the house, he came back, and he was like, Nichole, this is it, man. Like, I can't do this with you anymore. Like, you have crossed over a boundary. Like, he's like, you're on another level. And I remember being so upset. I was crying because I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, I can't deal with you. Like, I can't fuck with you because this is not normal. Like, and I felt like, so you're breaking up with me, you know? Like, what the fuck? And so he went to work that day, and he came back that evening, and I was still up, and he was so upset with me, you guys, because I was just so out of my mind. So, sorry, gotta get a snack. What triggers me to use? Well, back then, it was nothing. I was just using all the time. Honestly, you guys, now, nothing triggers me to use. I can sit here and talk about story times all day long. People get mad at me and they'll say, you're triggering people. You guys listen to me, okay? If you can't watch a YouTube video or a TikTok video without getting triggered, that's not my motherfucking problem, okay? I have worked my ass off to get to where I'm at. And I tell these stories because I can't believe that I fucking lived to tell the tale. I tell these stories because sometimes I'm like, damn, bitch, you fucking went through, you've been down through there. You know, I tell these stories not because I like want to go back there and do it. I love my life today. I love being sober, you know. I love helping others. But I gotta be straight up with you. I have to be transparent with you guys. When I was getting high, I wasn't nothing to fucking play with. I was fucking skeezed out to the next limit, dude. I was out of my motherfucking mind, man. You guys would have been like, oh shit, here she comes. Like, I was that bitch that y'all were like, she gets too high, we don't want to hang out with her. You know what I'm saying? Like, I crossed over this whole, like, it's cool to get high, let's have a good time, way long ago. And that's why I lost all my friends. All my friends that I was friends with when I first started using, they didn't want to hang out with me because I got too fucked up. I couldn't handle it, man. And then I would make other people uncomfortable, you know? Hey, what's up, man? Thank you for your support, Pollock. I see you, man. Balls to the wall, man. Balls to the wall. So anyway, let me keep on telling you about Joe, okay? So anyways, I was like, man, he's breaking up with me, right? But I knew that he loved me. You know, we had a love between each other, you know? And I was just too much, you know what I'm saying? I was the life of the party. I was too much. I was too much, man. And so I ended up finally being like, you know what? I got to make a change. Like, I got to get help. And I went and I got sober, but not for a long time. Like, I got sober 5-10 years after. No, it was 4 years after I met Joe. But, he saw me go into treatment. I went into treatment because I was like, man, I got to do something different. I can't handle this anymore. And so I went into treatment, but I relapsed, you know, it didn't work. And the reason why it didn't work, you guys, at that time was because I had nothing to live for. I didn't care about staying sober then. I didn't have my son. I didn't have any responsibilities. It was just me. And so I was like, fuck it, dude. I'm just going to live my life. I'm just going to live my life, you know? Where is Joe now? Great question. So, you guys, Joe literally called me 3 months ago. He called me. He got out of prison. Now, since me and Joe had separated ways, he's been to prison 2 or 3 times since then. Okay? And guess what? It's all because of methamphetamine. He continued that lifestyle. Now, Joe was never somebody who injected. He never shot up. Well, he called me this last couple of months ago and admitted to me that he started using a needle. And I was like, man, please tell me you're going to turn your life around and you're not going to do that shit anymore, because if you're using the needle, you're never going to get better. I'm telling you guys, in fact, I will call him after we do this stream and I will see how he's doing just so I can come back and tell you guys. I text him every now and then just to check up on him, but I hadn't talked to him in about 30 days. But he had told me that he started injecting. Well, he got out of prison this last time and he was staying sober. And so when we were on the phone, this is what he said, you guys. He goes, do you remember when you went walking down the road in the middle of the night and you were calling my phone? The story I told y'all about. And I said, I called your phone? And he goes, yeah, Nichole, you called me 100 times begging for me to come pick you up. I drove all the way out there and you were nowhere to be found. He came for me. He came for me, y'all. I thought he left me because I was calling him. He was the only person I knew to call because I was hallucinating, walking down the road, tripping. And I was calling him and calling him and calling him. And he never came, but he did come. I was just walking all over the world. Who knows where I was at? So when he told me that, I was like, damn, dude. It just reassured in my mind that everything that I saw happened was actually happening. You know what I mean? What's the difference between snorting, smoking, and injecting? There's a huge difference. What does your husband think about you talking to him? I actually just told my husband knows everything I do because I talk. We're sitting here in the house. He talks, I talk in front of him. So there's nothing for me to hide or lie about. But I was actually just telling my husband the other day how he reaffirmed to me that he did come looking for me and that I did call him and that I had been walking down the road. You know what I'm saying? And so it was crazy, dude. But I don't lie to my husband about anything. And I'm also not a fucking skank hoe who does shit behind his back. I'm just straight up. And so he has no reason to be worried. Snorting, smoking, and injecting. So injecting methamphetamine was so much stronger than doing snorting or smoking it at all, you guys. If you've never injected drugs, then you'll never be able to understand. But there's a huge difference between doing it any other way. And once you cross over into injecting, it's like nothing it's crazy. I did, Monkey Girl. I have. I actually told a story time on my TikTok talk about that. You guys, I have so many story times on here that are down on my feed. I'm going to start bringing up story times and just retelling them because people don't go down there, you know? Okay, so before I started shooting, you guys, I used to mix it in my coffee and drink it. So yes, or take it in a capsule. Oh, Lord help me. Once you try the needle, you never go back. It's crazy. Boofing it is sticking it in your booty hole. My story is like a lot of other people's stories. I was 17 years old when I started using drugs. Okay, guys? I grew up. My parents are both married. My mom is Mexican and my dad is Italian. Oh, and just so you guys know, if you all are in here, there's 80 something of you guys in here. If every single one of you guys will please go subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's called Real Talk Recovery with Nichole. It would mean the world to me. All you got to do is click the link in my bio. It'll take you right to my YouTube channel. Seriously, you guys. If every one of y'all done that, that would be the bomb ass shit. But anyways, I'll tell y'all some more stories, okay? So I was 17 years old when I started using. I'm going to give you, let me paint you a picture of 17-year-old Nichole, okay? 17-year-old Nichole. First of all, I went through a lot of changes when I was younger, okay? When I was a young girl, I was very insecure about my weight. I am still insecure about my weight. I have an eating disorder. It's called binge eating disorder. I will do so well and then I will binge copious amounts of food. And then I will restrict. And then I will binge. And then I will restrict. I struggle a lot, okay? Ever since I was like 6 years old, I struggled with binging. Like I said, my mom's Mexican, my dad's Italian. I was born in the year 1982 in Long Island, New York. Well, New York was too cold, so my mom and dad moved us to Arkansas because that's where they met. My parents met in the military. My mom and dad were both in the Air Force. They met and they fell in love. They were fighting over pizza. See, we love to eat food in the DeMayo family. That's my maiden name, DeMayo. We love to eat and we eat to love and we just love it. And so when I was growing up, I had two little sisters. Me, Nichole, my sister Michelle, and my baby sister Christine. We were like the three blind mice, the three amigos, we were badass bitches. We had each other's backs no matter what. Growing up, we had rabbits, we had hamsters, we had dogs, we had a huge backyard. My dad built an above ground pool where we could go swimming. We had bicycles that we would be out bicycling on. We would be playing in the tall grass, building forts and battle stations. Like, we had the best childhood growing up. I remember one time we were out in the tall grass building forts and playing battle stations, and we came back to the house and we were covered in sea ticks. All these little ticks all over our body. So, okay, Jace, love you, babe. Thanks for your support, honey. Jace is one of my new teen followers. I got a lot of teens following me now. So you guys, if I cuss, please try to just not listen to it, okay? I try not to, though. So I got all these sea ticks. We had all these sea ticks all over us. Me and my sisters come marching up out of the tall grass, and my mom was like, oh, my mom's a little Mexican lady. Oh, pobrecita, come inside. And she gives us all a little hot bath, you know, me and my sisters, and then we all get a story time and we go to bed. That's what my life was like growing up as a kid. It was awesome. My mom and dad are amazing people, you guys. They don't have addictions. They don't drink or use drugs. I think the worst thing my dad did was drink some beer sometime and smoke cigarettes. My mom smoked cigarettes sometimes. So, as I got older, my dad had always been really insecure about his weight. My dad is a bodybuilder. If you guys type in Mark DeMayo, you'll find a picture of my dad and you'll see, boom, he's a big old giant Italian stallion. That's what they called him when he was in the Air Force, the Italian stallion. So my dad would always talk about how he needed to lose weight and how he needed to get to the gym, this, that, and the third. And so growing up, I heard a lot of that. And I also it was also taught to us that we needed to make sure that we kept our weight in check. So imagine growing up as a young girl and the center of a lot of things being weight. If we ate, we talked about our weight. Oh, I'm going to get fat from this, da 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 da. So it's always like an unhealthy relationship with food. Well, once I made it into grade school, first of all, I went to a really small school where everybody there was white. I was one of the only brown kids besides my friend Jessica Onzeldua. She was Mexican too. And a couple of black boys. That was it. And so by the time I was 17 years old, I had made the cheerleading squad. I had my first boyfriend. And that's when I started using. I started drinking and smoking pot. And listen, you guys, when I talk about smoking pot was not the reason why I started using drugs, okay? Let me just tell you that right now. I was going to parties and I was hanging out with people that were doing drugs. And so that's how I got introduced to harder drugs like meth and cocaine and pills. So at 17, I started using cocaine and methamphetamine because I was at a party and somebody had it. And that is how my whole addiction started. But of course, it didn't get bad right away. At the beginning, I would just use it to stay skinny. And I would snort it, you know, before school or snort it, you know, in the bathroom. And I would feel great and nobody even knew it. By the time I graduated, though, at 18 years old, I was using methamphetamine on a daily basis. And I was working my jobs to buy meth. Like I was using my money that I made at my job to buy a dope. At 18 years old, I bought my own car, and it was my blue Ford Focus. The one that I tell you guys stories about in all of my story times. So I bought that Ford Focus, and baby, now I'm on the road. Me and my girlfriend, y'all, we would party every single night. We would go to these bars and dance and drink and party. It was crazy, dude. I had a job. I was working for JCPenney in the cosmetic department, and then I was working for Sonic as a car hop. Y'all, I worked my ass off. Even though I was a drug addict, I still had a good sense of work ethic, okay? Like, I've always worked my ass off for everything that I've ever done. I've never taken the easy way. Ever. And when people try to take shit away from me and act like I've gotten stuff handed to me, that pisses me off more than anything in the whole wide world. Because everything that I've done on my social media, everything I've done at my job has all been because I worked my ass off to get to this. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I haven't taken any handouts from anybody. I wish. The only hand up I ever got was from Josh on Lockdown 23-1 on YouTube when he had me on his channel. Shal, I appreciate your support, man. But when he had me on his channel, he really gave me a chance so more people who would know who I was. But other than that, I have worked my way up from the ground. I have worked my ass off to build Real Talk Recovery. So anyway, I just had to say that. So I'm working at JCPenney, you guys. I got a good job. I'm doing people's makeup. And y'all know I love makeup. Y'all know I do. I mean, look at this face. So I'm doing people's makeup. And I remember one of my first clients, okay? What medications? Hey, Lauren Lee. I didn't take any medications, girl. I was addicted to methamphetamine when I was pregnant. I was addicted to meth, and I was using methadone and Xanax. And so, thank you. And so, oh, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. So I was doing people's makeup, right? And my first customer that I ever did her makeup, she was going to be in a bikini contest, right? And so I did her makeup, you guys. She won and came back and tipped me $50. That's when I knew I loved doing makeup. And I've been doing makeup ever since. And so I stayed at that job and I lost that job. The reason I lost my job, and this is when my addiction started to affect me negatively, and I should have known right then to get help. I lost my job because I was allowing people who sold drugs to come into the store and get shit for free. I was giving them stuff out of the store in exchange for free drugs. And so I ended up losing my job there. Once I lost that job, I started using all the time, daily now, like every single day. I was over at somebody's house who was making meth, and I would be using meth and Xanax and pain pills. And I lost that job, but at that time, that was like one of my first jobs. I bumped right up. I got right up, bounced up. I said, yeah, you know what? It's all good. It's all good. And I started working at Shoe Carnival. Hey, Kristin, what's up, girl? I started working at Shoe Carnival, and I was still had my little old job at Sonic. So I had 2 jobs still. I was still rocking and rolling. Now, at Shoe Carnival, I did the same thing. I was doing meth every day. I was selling shoes out the back of the Shoe Carnival, and I got busted, y'all. But they didn't fire me. I resigned, and I left, and I started my job working for the state of Arkansas. Now, working for the state of Arkansas was a whole nother thing. It was a hard job. I had to sit there and do fucking IDs and driver's licenses and car tags. And I stayed at that job for about six years. I stayed at that job for 6 years. But during that job, I started dating a guy named LD. Now, LD is dead and gone. He died. He was in a drunk driving accident years after me and him separated. But when I started dating him, all my friends told me, this dude will beat you. Nichole, leave him. Nichole, don't stay with him. He will hurt you. And I didn't listen. Within the first 6 months of us dating, he took my car and threw us into oncoming traffic, and we had a head-on collision, and it almost killed everyone in the car. This dude was violent, and he was nothing to play with. And I stayed in a relationship with him for 6 years. The first year, it was light stuff, like throwing stuff at me and yelling at me. But by the second year of dating him, he was punching me in the face. He was slapping me. He was cussing me out. He was pulling my hair. He was calling me whores, bitches, sluts, cunts, all kinds of stuff. Okay, he was very abusive to me. And all I did was try to help him. All I did was pay off his fines. All I did was buy him a car. All I did was help him get his life together. When we first started dating, we had nowhere to live. We were homeless. So we moved into a 1-bedroom efficiency where the roaches had roaches and the rats had rats. This place was disgusting. The bed that we slept on came with the apartment, and it had stains all over it, burn holes and cigarettes. I just want you to think about a place where prostitutes, crackheads, and crack dealers rent the room for 1 hour so they can sell drugs out of it or have sex. That is where I was living. I lived in that 1-bedroom efficiency for 6 months. I remember my parents, they call and call and call. We want to come see you. We want to see where you're at. So I finally let them come up there, and my dad was like, what the actual... He was like, oh, hell no. My daughter's not living like this. Hell to the fuck no. And so my dad helped me and him, me and my mom. My dad and my mom helped me and LD find our own place, like a nice trailer in the country by my parents' house where we could actually, you know, have good things and have our life together. So we moved out there, and I continued working for the state of Arkansas. I continued, you know, doing what I was doing. We tried to work. We would have good times in our relationship, you guys, where like we were getting along, but like I had never had anybody put their hands on me, you know, until I met this guy. I remember the first time he ever did like any real damage was he split my forehead open right here. And I had to get stitches right here, and it was just pouring blood all down my face. And I went to go lay down, and I had a towel on my head, and I fell asleep. And when I woke up, I pulled the towel off, and it was still just pouring blood. And so I had to go get stitches. And right then, like, I should have left, but I was so insecure. I thought I deserved it. You know what I'm saying? Well, long story short, he ended up leaving me and stealing everything that I had. He took all my diamond jewelry. He took all my money. He took everything I had that was of value. And I remember waking up and he was gone. And I was looking for him and I was crying and I was calling his sister and I was just trying to get him to come back. And then all of a sudden something just hit me and I was like, you don't need him. And so I went off the deep end. And that's when I started injecting methamphetamine. I moved in with my friend Nichole and her boyfriend at the time. And I started injecting methamphetamine. I started injecting cocaine. And once I started injecting drugs, it was like a fucking spiral, dude. Everything happened so fast, so fast, so fast. I moved in with Nate. We were manufacturing methamphetamine. We were staying up all day long, y'all, all night long, doing all these drugs and just fucking, like, my body was, I can't believe I'm alive. I can't believe that I'm healthy right now and able to talk to y'all because I was just shooting drugs all day long. Well, I ended up getting busted. I was driving. I wasn't driving. The guy who was with me, his name was Pacemaker Quincy. Why did they call him Pacemaker Quincy? Because he had a pacemaker. And he was one of the only black dudes that I ever knew to shoot methamphetamine. Pacemaker Quincy was driving my car. We had just got done delivering some dope to somebody's house. And these girls were confidential informants. The Terry twins. They narked us out and we were surrounded by D-Tech cars and police cars on Woodlawn Avenue in Hot Springs, Arkansas. And they opened up my purse and they found a syringe with some meth in it. And that is all I had. I had a syringe with meth. I had a weed pipe in my glove box. I had a hookah bong in my trunk. And that was it. But they made it out like I was carrying kilos of methamphetamine. And I got a possession of a controlled substance Class C felony for that shit. Okay? And they put me on probation. Quincy ran. I've never seen him. I don't know if he ever did his time. They offered him 20 years because he was a habitual offender. And I've never seen him again. He totally jumped, right? Well, I went and I got put on probation. Probation ain't nothing but a thing, right? If you want to stay sober, probation ain't hard at all. But for me, I couldn't stay sober. I kept on getting high. So every single time I would go in to take a drug test, I would fail. Well, this probation officer, y'all, she was so mean. She would make me stand against the wall, lift my leg up so she could look inside of me to make sure I didn't have anything hiding in there. Like, it was so degrading. I ended up failing all my drug tests, and right before she revoked me, she was like, I'm going to give you one chance, and we're going to send you to rehab. So they sent me to rehab. Now, I forgot to tell y'all about my first rehab, but back there I went to rehab once. My parents sent me. This was my second rehab, South Arkansas Substance Abuse Center in El Dorado, Arkansas. So I went there, and I did really good. In the treatment center. I was listening to everything they were telling me to do. And then I graduated, and after 30 days, I came back and I relapsed. Just like that. Boom. I relapsed, and you know what? My probation officer was like, man, bitch, I ain't playing with you. And so she revoked me and sent me to prison. And I went and did my prison time. Now, prison is a whole nother story. The kind of prison that I went to was not like it was a boot camp style, therapeutic community prison where you go there and the inmates run the compound. We cook, we clean, we do all the fucking like construction or like anything that has to do with anything. The inmates do all of it, okay? The guards are just there supervising us because basically everyone there is a non-violent offender. Everyone there, orange is the new black. Everyone there is a drug addict or a thief, right? And so when I got to prison, I was shaking, y'all. I was like 110 pounds dripping wet. I was so skinny. And when I got there, they put me in the shower in between these two big old giant bitches. And they were spraying this lice stuff on us, right? And I remember just being so scared. But then when I got in there in the hole, I was in the hole with this girl named Nikki. I'll never forget it. We were in the hole for 3 days. And we were laying in there and she was telling me about how she got put in prison. I was telling her about how I got there. Well, she had drove her fucking car through a church fucking high on methamphetamine. I was like, bitch, you're my kind of girl. I'm the same way. That could have been me, sis. You know, she was running from the cops, high on meth, and drove straight through a church in Clinton, Arkansas, this little old town. And so, me and her just sat up all night telling stories until they let us out of the hole. So they kept us in the hole because they had to make sure that we didn't have no infectious diseases or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? And so then they let us back and we went into general population. In general population, they assign you a job. They put you in a unit and then you go about your life. They signed me a job and I was doing this thing called CWC, which is compound work crew, basically construction, and it sucks. You're mowing the lawn, you're hoeing, you're pulling weeds. It's hot outside. And so I was out there busting my ass doing the damn thing, and one of the guards seen me and she said, "Hey, DeMayo, come here." And I was like, so I came over there and she said, "I like the way you work. Come with me." And so I went with her and she said, "You're going to be working in laundry now." Whoop, 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 whoop. Laundry is where you want to be, man, because you have access to everything. So we were down there with a radio. We were down there with a little TV. We had a fucking radio on, rap music, bumping and grinding. We were fucking turning off the heaters on the fucking dryers and jumping in the dryers and riding in them like we were on a roller coaster. We were down there kicking it. Okay? Kicking it. We woke up every morning at 2 a.m., jumped in the back of the truck with the guard, and rode around and picked up everybody's laundry and worked from 2 a.m. till noon every day doing the whole compound's laundry. Smoking cigarettes that people snuck in for us, fucking kicking it, eating ribs, donuts, free world food that the guard brought for us. Yeah, we made the best of the situation. And so that's how we worked. 2 a.m. every morning we had to get up. Yep. 2 a.m. to 12 is what our work hours were. And we was just down there just doing the damn thing. Working. Well, there was this, let me tell y'all about this one part. So sometimes like the big ass bags of laundry would get so tall on the back of the truck that two of us would have to walk, right? Two of us would have to walk. No, every day we did laundry. Two of us would have to walk behind the truck and go down to the laundry thing. There was this huge fucking well-like thing in the middle of the property, and there was these bullfrogs, okay? So every night, 2, 3 a.m., we're walking down there, and you can hear these bullfrogs, and they're like, they make this weird-ass sound. And so it was so fascinating to me. I'm like, dude, I want to get one of them damn bullfrogs. I want to see one of them bullfrogs. And so every night I started to go down there with a flashlight, trying to look and see if I could. When I finally got my eyes on one of them damn bullfrogs, when I tell y'all, these bullfrogs were this big in this thing. I couldn't believe it. It was like it was the most fascinating shit I've ever seen in my life. Them bullfrogs, you could hear them every single night making that sound, y'all. It was so crazy. So anyway, that was that. I remember one time I got written up. A girl wrote me up for sexually acting out, trying to accuse me of having a lesbian relationship with my friend Catherine. Me and Catherine came from the same city. We had became really good friends, and we were sitting close to each other one day in the cafeteria or in the gym. If your arms brushed up against each other, you would get in trouble for, being inappropriate with another woman. And so one of the girls brought me to the floor and wrote me up and was trying to like pull me up. And what they would do is this thing where it was like a therapeutic community. So people would write each other up. What?
This is Ivy League games.
Stop, Nate. Delete.
Hey, Mommy.
There you go.
Wait, can you type in on my Switch Guts and Glory?
Guts and Glory.
I want to see what comes up.
Okay. Where do I do that at, Nate? So, anyways, Yeah, they tried to get me in trouble for sexually acting out, but it didn't work, and I didn't get in trouble. But that was a serious offense. Like, if you got in trouble for that, you could, like, it was a big deal. You could get, it was not a good thing. You didn't want to get a disciplinary. But anyways, I ended up getting out after a year, and I went home. My parents came and picked me up, and of course I couldn't go home to their house because my probation officer said that I was banned from coming back to that county. And so what I ended up doing was I paroled out to the house, to the halfway house here in Little Rock. There you go. Oh, that's okay. I ended up, thank you guys, that's my boy. I ended up moving in to a halfway house in Little Rock, and that's where I started my sober journey. Go talk to Daddy about it, okay?
Can I get it though?
Yes.
Can I buy it right now?
Go ask your dad too, Nate. I tell him I said okay, but you need to ask him too.
But can I just like download it?
Go ask your father first. Yeah. Hustler. Always hustling me for some money. So, so I moved into the sober living, and I lived in that sober living, you guys, for 9 months, and I did really well. I stayed sober for 9 months. I got a sponsor. I started going to meetings. Like, I was serious, you guys. I was serious. I don't think I was. I think they came in like the early 2000s, and I was still in, I wasn't in Little Rock until 2010. So, I lived in that sober living house for 9 months, and I did really well, but I ended up relapsing, you know, and you guys, I did everything they told me to do. I got a job, I started working, I had a sponsor, I was going to meetings, and this is like something that happened a lot. Like I was in and out of treatment programs, and I would get sober and I would do good for a long time, and then I would relapse, you guys. And that was so discouraging because I would try so hard and then I would fall back. You know what I'm saying?
Dad said I could buy it tomorrow, but he said I can't buy it today.
Okay, well then that's what he said.
I'm gonna buy it today.
Nate, you gotta listen to what your daddy says, baby. Nate. Okay, listen to me. We have a trip. We're going to go see Grandma and Grandpa tomorrow, okay? So, anyway, I can't even think of where I'm at. Anyway, I relapsed after that, and that was in 2010. Now, mind you, I didn't get sober until 2015. So, we're going to just bypass a couple of years till 2012, Mom, okay?
I think
in 2012, I met my husband, and then we got pregnant with this little chicken nugget.
I think I just made the coins of it to buy it less.
Well, Nate, look at me, son. I told you no. Yes. That you have to wait until your father says. Okay? Now stop trying to undermine your dad. Nathaniel, I'm going to take it away. I know you want it. Now take this upstairs and be good and play the games that you already have. Okay?
Why can't I not buy it today, but I can buy it tomorrow?
Nathaniel, play the games you already have. Nathaniel Alexander is his name. So anyway, we had Nate, and then we had Nathaniel, and I tried really hard to get sober, you guys. I really screwed up. And I didn't get sober until 3 years, until a year after he was born. And the reason I got sober is because my son got taken away from me. You know, and I'm not proud of that at all. I fucked up big time when I was pregnant. I have so much guilt and shame surrounding that. I beat myself up every single day because I look at my son and I feel horrible because I love him so much. I love my son so much that I would do anything to change. I wish I could go back and change that, you know. But I can't, and I try to forgive myself for it, but it's difficult, you know. And so what I try to do is I try to just use my story to try and help other people, you know. And that's what. Oh, robo-tripping? I have, you know, isn't that with a Robitussin? I had done that when I was younger, you guys. And me and this guy I dated used to drink NyQuil by the bottles, you know. But I'll tell you this. You got to be careful, man. I had a friend of mine that was doing the cough, corticetin cough suppressants, and he took a whole bunch of them. It was Joe, actually. He took a whole bunch of those, and he got stuck, okay? I mean, stuck in a trip, and it's dangerous. You could overdose. You could kill yourself. So don't do that, okay? In fact, listen to me, you guys. If you are young and you are experimenting with drugs, this is all I can tell you. You need to be safe, and you need to make sure that you have people around you that can help you if anything bad happens. I wish that I had never tried getting high. I wish I had never started using. The one where Joe went out to the wrong turn. J Ship. I ran out of the house and they gave me a Seroquel, remember? And I went walking down the road and was hallucinating. If you guys missed any of the videos, I'm uploading that live stream on my YouTube channel right now. It's probably almost done uploading. And so anybody that missed that live stream earlier, it's going up on my YouTube, so you'll be able to see it, okay? Just go subscribe to my YouTube channel. So anyway, you guys, I got sober in 2015 after my little boy got taken away from me. And he was my saving grace. How do I stay sober now? Great question, girl. Well, a lot of work. When I first got into recovery, I went to 3 meetings a week. I worked with a therapist. I had a sponsor. It's called Real Talk Recovery. Real Talk Recovery with Nichole on YouTube. Therapy is so important, you guys. I really seriously think everybody could benefit from it. The first time I ever used was with my boyfriend. At the time, his name was Robert. I'll never forget Robert because he was like my first boyfriend. He was the first guy that I ever had sex with. In fact, I'll tell y'all about it. His mom was named, her name was Sandy. And Sandy loved me. She would let me come over and stay the night. And I really had no business staying the night. You know, we were only 17 years old. But she would let me stay the night. And I remember we had kind of worked ourselves up to it. And I was so scared because I was like, I'm going to get pregnant or my mom and dad are going to get mad at me. But I remember we did it. And I remember not knowing what hole it went in. And I remember being so afraid and shaking. He was my first everything. But we were smoking weed. We were smoking weed and we were drinking alcohol. And Sandy loved me, Shal. She took pictures of me and put them on the refrigerator, black and white pictures of me, because she always said, my mom's Mexican and my dad's Italian, but she was like really into Native Americans. And so Mexican people have Native American blood in them. But she always liked taking pictures of like my nose and my profile and stuff. It was she was cool. It was cool. But anyway, I had smoked pot with him and his friends for the first time. That was the first time I ever did any kind of drug, was smoking pot with them. Well, then one night they had cocaine. And when I tried cocaine, let me just tell y'all this. It was amazing. It was everything I wanted and more. We were actually going to a Korn concert. Korn and Rob Zombie. And I used cocaine for the first time. And I remember being on top of Robert's shoulders. And I was like, woo! You know? And we rode all the way down there in my friend William's station wagon. And we were snorting lines of cocaine, smoking marijuana, baby. And we were just living the best life. We would also, this whole group of us, it was William, Sean, Will, Robert, me, my friend Jamie, God, who else came? Sonia, Miranda, and we would all go and we would go to this this shroom field in Center Creek, no, some part of Amity, Arkansas. And there was all these cows out there, and they would poop, and you could go and look under their poop, and there was shrooms. No joke, y'all. Like, this whole cow field was known for shrooms, okay? So we would go out there and we would collect these shrooms. Well, one night we were out there, and the man that owned the place got out there with a shotgun. It was like, if y'all don't get off my yard. We were crazy. I remember the first time I started drinking, I was at a party after a football game, and they had a big ass keg. They had a big ass keg, and I was out there doing keg stands off the kegs. And listen, my mom and dad, they were good parents. I was lying to them. I was sneaking around. I was a sneaky little snake. So, peppermint, chewy peppermints. I don't know. I don't know about the ADHD thing. I know that every time I used cocaine, I felt it. They do. I love them too. I had the best time when I was a kid, though. So, those are my stories, y'all. I hope you guys know that. How did you get your parents to understand there was nothing they could do, that you went that road? So my mom started going to a program called Al-Anon, and that really, really helped her. Now my dad, he struggled because he wouldn't go to the meetings with my mom. And so he always kind of, I think he beat himself up about it. You know what I mean? But my mom, she learned real quick. She was like, this is Nicole's shit. We have done everything. My parents did everything they could to help me. They helped me find treatment. They were there for me. They offered to help me anytime I was willing to get it. But I wasn't willing, you know, for the longest time. Your video about CPS just made me cry. Hey, Junior's mommy. Yes, I have my little boy back. I've had my little boy back for almost 5 years now. Are you and your husband still together? Cynthia, yes. Me and my husband are still together. And he is doing... You guys, my husband has struggled so much with his sobriety. And I am here to tell y'all, he has been doing so good. He's almost got 90 days sober. And that's a miracle because my husband was struggling for a while. This last 2020 was a struggle for him. But, you know, I work really hard to stay sober. I am honest. I work with others. I do meetings. I tell my story. I go and listen to other people tell their stories. Like, it's really important to me. My sobriety is not a joke. And I take it really fucking seriously. Yes, my husband is Nathaniel's dad. Yes. Hey, Justin. Congratulations, man. I'm proud of you. Justin, you've been hanging out with us for a couple days now, hadn't you? Neil is my son's father. Thanks, Cynthia. Yeah, back then I was just really skinny and just really lifeless. You know what I'm saying? I have gained quite a bit of weight in my sobriety. Too much, if you want me to be honest with you. But I would rather be chunky and happy and sober than to be skinny and miserable and strung out. Have I tried any of the more rare drugs? Well, I've tripped mushrooms. I've done psilocybin. I've taken ecstasy. I've done Molly. I've done methamphetamine, cocaine, crack cocaine. Thanks, J-Ship. I appreciate you. So I'm going to say this because I talked about it on my channel last night. Did you struggle to stay sober when he used, or did he not? Okay, so yeah, my husband wouldn't use in front of me. My husband is a sneaky ass snake, okay? He go behind my back and come home already like that. But I was super depressed, dude. I was so depressed. It made me, I was crying, all that. It hurt my heart. Ada and Frank, I think it sucks, man. It's sad, but I can totally relate because I'm addicted to food too. I'm 1 year, 1 month clean. I actually work the program. That's awesome. My ex-boyfriend struggles. I had to stop trying to help after we were friends. Hey, girl. Hey, girl, thank you. Congratulations on 8 months. You know, my husband, for the longest time, I tried to control every move that he made, and that wasn't working. And so what I did was I stopped. I stopped trying to control him. And when I stopped, that's when he hit rock bottom and lost his job. So that helped, actually. And now we're at where we're at. But it took me to stop enabling him, because I was covering for him. I was calling into his job for him. I was taking his car keys away. So I just started letting him fucking do what he was going to do and stepped back. And when I did that, he fucking hit the ground hard and he lost his fucking job. That was a wake-up call for him. He had to go through that, though, because I kept saving him from losing his job. Yep, and now he's got a new job lined up. And when he gets it nailed down, then I'll be able to really announce it to you guys. But he's got a new job. He just went and got fingerprinted for. And I'm really freaking proud of him. And it'll be a job that he can do, that he loves to do. Because my husband was in a really stressful management job. And if y'all know anything about management, it's like babysitting, right? It's like making people do something they don't want to do. And my husband just was not happy. It was just too much stress. So now we can do our recovery and we can stay sober and we can work. He'll have his job. I have my job that I do. And I'll be in California boop, 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 in 2 weeks, y'all. Well, yeah, if any addict needs counseling, okay? Whether it be food, drugs, gambling, sex, spending money, every addict needs counseling, you know? But what happens with addicts like me is we go into cross addiction, where I went from having an addiction to drugs to having an addiction to food to having an addiction to social media to having an addiction. So it's just, you have to find your balance. I do, Matt. I know a lot about Suboxone. What do you need to know? I got you. It's all about finding balance in your life and finding balance, and like, you can have a social media addiction and utilize that as a positive thing by being able to help people and being a hustler and making content. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, I'm sorry about that, man. I hope he gets better, girl. That sucks. But sometimes we have to let him go through it, you know? No, it wasn't harder for me because I think a lot of you guys have a misconception. Like, it wasn't anything that you can imagine. My husband would go to work, take some Xanaxes, and then come home, and then I would know. It wasn't like he came home and had crack or anything. It was just annoying. It pissed me off. That's what it did. It pissed me off. What's the best way to taper off of an 8 milligram? Now I'm trying to help a co-ed friend. Okay, Yes, so the link to Mara, you just click the link in my bio, go to the link tree, you'll see the dot, click that, and then go down and you'll see Mara. So to taper off of an 8 milligrams, you need to do it low and slow. The way I got down was 2 milligrams at a time until I got to 2 milligrams. And then once I got to 2 milligrams, I went down 1 milligram and then 0.5 milligram. And so you just need to do it really, really slowly though. A lot of people try to rush and get off of it in 30 days. That is not a good idea. You need to take your time, and it'll take you a good 4 months, 6 months to get off of 8 milligrams if you do it right and you do it slow. Yeah, it would piss me off. That's what it would do. It would get on my nerves, girl. But he would work all day long and he wouldn't get home until like 10 o'clock at night. And so we would be going to bed by then. And so it was just really annoying. It was really annoying. But now it's all in the past and I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful! But anyways, I'm going to get off here, you guys. You know I'll be on here all night. I'm going to stop this right here and I will upload this live stream over to my YouTube too, okay? If you guys don't mind, please, please, please go follow me on YouTube at Real Talk Recovery. It really helps me out a lot. I go live here on TikTok all the time, okay? You will never miss me. I'm always on here, okay? And I love making videos, and I love having all y'all here. This is amazing. I'm so excited about it, just so y'all know. I really am. I love seeing all y'all's new faces and everybody coming over here. It's awesome. Oh, yeah, Sarah, I messaged Sarah. I talked to her. She says she's okay. Matt, if you want to, I can send you some videos, man, of some people that have titrated they slice their strips and they cut. Just send me a message, Matt, and I'll send you some videos, okay? But anything you guys need help with or support with, you can always DM me. I'll do the best I can to give you any kind of good suggestions, or if you need help finding treatment, I can help you with that. But until next time, I will be live. Tomorrow is Saturday. Tomorrow I'm going to my parents' house, so guess what? That means y'all are going to get some videos from my mom and dad. That means they're going to get to tell you how fucked up I was. So, tomorrow you'll see my mama. She's awesome. Hey, April. She's awesome about telling stories from my past. So my mama will come on with me tomorrow and we'll do a live stream tomorrow night together, okay? So y'all be on the lookout. All right, love you guys.